Hello and welcome to Game Week 16 Premier League predictions. Last week I got 4 points, taking me to a total of 76 points. This week we're going to kick off with Chelsea versus Everton. Chelsea faced Bournemouth last game week, and it was a horrendous game from both sides. You can tell that Palmer just came back from injury. He was very rusty, and even the likes of Enzo and Cucurella weren't performing, and those guys are usually the old reliable. But that is now 3 games in a row that Chelsea haven't gotten a win. Actually, it's 4 now because they also lost to Atalanta in the Champions League. As for Everton, they faced Forest and beat them 3-0, but I don't really think it was a good representation of what actually happened. I think the teams were a lot more even, but Barry does get his first goal in the Premier League, and I think in an Everton shirt, so good on him. Maybe he can continue that. And also Dewsbury Hall continues his form. He's on an incredible run. And when these two teams face at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea have picked up a point in their last 5 encounters, so I don't think Chelsea will lose here, but I don't think they'll win either, because Everton have gotten a result in their last 3 away games, so away form has been improving for them. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this game ends in a 1-1 draw. Next up is Liverpool versus Brighton. Liverpool, they took a lead against Leeds through Ekitike getting himself a brace, which I do think was deserved. I think they were the better team up until they started conceding themselves. They conceded twice, then Szoboszlai scored, and then they conceded once again, getting a 3-3 draw. And then that's not it. Salah creates even more drama for them. There's Salah slot drama, right? It's a whole mess in Liverpool right now, but they still managed to get a win in the Champions League against Inter, which I don't think is fair because that wasn't a pen, so I think they should have ended in a draw, but they still ended up winning. As for Brighton, in their game against West Ham, they had all the possession but wasted so many chances. They basically didn't do anything with the ball. They had 4 shots on target out of 22 shots. That's awful. And when these two teams face, it's usually pretty split. There's been 2 draws, 2 Liverpool wins, and 1 Brighton win in their last 5. But currently, I do think Liverpool is improving without Salah, so I think Salah is correct in benching him. And Brighton currently is dropping in form. So I think Liverpool can beat these guys. It's going to be very tough. I think it's going to be a very open game. That's why I'm going to go for a high-scoring 3-2 win to Liverpool. Next up is Burnley versus Fulham. Burnley went against Newcastle at St. James's Park, and they ended up losing, and that is now their 6th loss in a row in the Prem, and only 4 goals in those 6 games. So they are in a very bad run right now. But honestly, I do think they had a chance in this game before they got the red card. That red card just killed their momentum. As for Fulham, they lost to Crystal Palace, even though I think they deserved the win. I think they were the better team. They had majority of the chances, I feel like, despite what the stats say. Stats say that Crystal was better, but I think Fulham were the better team. And also Harry Wilson having an underrated season once again, scoring a beautiful goal. So good on him. And in recent times, when these two teams face at Turf Moor, Fulham hasn't won in their last 3. So that isn't great for Fulham, but I feel like they can get something here. I've been liking the way Fulham play. I know it's home form that they've been performing, but I think they can get some of that home form at Turf Moor, maybe. But Fulham away has been awful, and so has Burnley at home. And both teams have very low scoring games when Burnley is at home and Fulham's away. So this is going to be a low scoring game in my opinion, unless both teams decide to open up, but I don't think they will. I think they'll both be pragmatic, and I'm going to go ahead and say that Fulham win here. Very low scoring, 1-0. Next up is Arsenal versus Wolves. Arsenal, they tumble once again against Villa, so thank you Villa. And that is now 3 away games with no win. And I think the only 2 people can hold their head high, and that's Odegaard. I think he had a good game against them. And then Trossard. He came on, scored, and then came off. He's so clinical. But then they get a win in the Champions League against Club Brugge, where they did rotate players. But, I mean, this is Wolves. Wolves, in their game against United, absolutely no urgency from the guys. They have given up. You can see they have given up. But they did score, though. They did manage to score in their first time for, I think, 6 games now. But, yeah, that doesn't matter. Arsenal's going to win here. I'm going to predict that Arsenal win 3-0. Next up is Crystal Palace versus City. Crystal Palace, once again, being efficient with their shots. I feel like I say that every week. They are so clinical. They have a few shots, but majority of them are always on target. And that is now 4 away wins in the Premier League in a row for Crystal. As for City, we had a good performance against Sunderland. Foden and Cherki had great games. I love the way they play. Haaland has slowed down, but like I said, Foden and Cherki has picked up his slack a little bit, so it's fine. Nothing to panic about. And also, we didn't collapse in the second half like we did against Leeds and Fulham. And then we also beat Real Madrid in the Champions League, even though I do think it was pretty even game. I was scared at some points, but we did manage to win away from home. So hopefully we can take that momentum into this game against Crystal. And when Crystal Palace do host Manchester City, in the last 5 games, City has picked up at least a point. So I do think we're going to get at least a point here, but I don't think we're going to get the win. Crystal Palace, I feel like, can get the best of us. They sit back, very defensive team, and they like to transition up the field very quickly. I feel like Nico Gonzalez is going to have a tough game this one. And the likes of Mateta up there, Pino, he's been having a great season. I think this is going to be a hiccup in our road. And also, Crystal Palace like to have low scoring games at home. Even though their form isn't the best, they have low scoring games and have drawn 4 games at home. So I'm gonna go with another draw here. I'm gonna say that we end up drawing 1-1. Next up is a very highly anticipated game, Sunderland versus Newcastle. Sunderland, they faced us last week and they sat back like you would expect. They couldn't break away though. That was their plan, to break away, but they couldn't. And they only had like 2 decent chances, and both of them I feel like we gifted them to them. So last week wasn't great for Sunderland, but they were away from home. This time they're hosting Newcastle. And Newcastle, shaky start from them against Burnley, but then, started picking it up, and they deserved that win against Burnley. Bruno and Gordon are having great seasons, especially Bruno. I love the way Bruno plays. And then also Wissa is back for them, so that's even more rotation for them. And they also managed to get a draw against Leverkusen in the Champions League, and that's not easy to do. I mean, Leverkusen beat us, so they got a draw. But for this matchup, it's going to be very exciting. I feel like both teams are going to be up for it, especially the Stadium of Light. Very rocking. I think both stadiums are, but it's going to be in the Stadium of Light. Recently, when Sunderland are at home, there has been high scoring games. So I do think there's going to be goals in this one. Hopefully I'm right and this ends up being an exciting game, because I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Next up is Forest versus Spurs. Forest have once again slowed down. Deitch got them back up going right with form, but now they are back on the decline. I think the injuries are hurting them. The players that are fielding right now aren't great, like Savona, Morato, Hutchinson. I feel like Hutchinson is overrated. I mean, there's players that shouldn't be in the team that are, right, because of injuries. And those players aren't back, so it is hurting them right now. As for Spurs, they get their 2nd win at home in the league. Their last win at home was against Burnley in the first game of the season. And now they beat Brentford to get their 2nd. Xavi Simons finally contributing, getting a goal and an assist. And Richarlison once again scoring. I feel like he's been in great form, or at least for scoring. And that is their first win in 6 games. And then they get another win in the Champions League against Sparta Praha. So 2 wins back to back now. Can they make it the 3rd? I think they can. Forest has just been slacking, and like I said, their injuries are hurting them. I know Spurs have injuries as well, but they have decent backup. Not unlike Forest. I don't think Forest's backups are that great. I do think it's going to be close though, but I think Spurs win here 2-1. Next up is West Ham versus Villa. West Ham faced Brighton last week, and they looked very dangerous with their chances. And I do think if they would have gotten the 2nd goal, it would have been fair, right? I do think they were that good. But we got to be real. Most of their chances are coming from the right side. Bowen and Wan-Bissaka are carrying this team. And then there's Villa, who had a great game. Round of applause to them. Beat Arsenal, which is not only good for us, but good for them as well. I mean, they're 3rd place. They're 3 points behind Arsenal now. Maatsen, incredible down that left flank. Tielemans and Kamara in midfield were superb. Watkins is the only guy I want to talk about. He is useless. He has done nothing up there since the start of the season. I don't know why he keeps starting. Maybe because you want to have Mullen come off the bench, and you really don't have another option other than Mullen. But I don't know. I just don't think he should be starting. But they get the winner in the last kick of the game through Buendia. So thank you, Buendia. But when these 2 teams face each other in the last 5 games, it's been pretty back and forth. And both teams have scored in all of those games. So I do think both teams are going to score in this one, but I just can't go against Villa. Villa are just on a great run right now. I'm going to say Villa win here 2-1. Next up is Brentford versus Leeds. Brentford, they lose away from home against Spurs. Extremely sloppy from them. Losing possession, bad passes, all of it. Their away form is going to drag them down. They need to start picking up points away from home. But luckily, this is a home game for them, where they will be hosting Leeds, who is on a generational run right now. Almost getting a point from City, getting a point from Chelsea, 3 points, and then getting a point on Liverpool. Tanaka coming with the equalizer against Liverpool to get that point. Scoring 3 goals on Liverpool. Nyanto coming back from injury, I think it was. Or he's been back for a while, but he hasn't got many minutes. He looked dangerous. I do think he's going to start playing more games for them. So Leeds are in great form right now. But this is Brentford at home. And Brentford at home is one of the best teams right now in the league. Brentford have won 5 of their 7 games at home and have only conceded 8. And Leeds, when they travel, do struggle. So I think Brentford's going to win here. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Brentford. Next up is United versus Bournemouth. United faced Wolves, where they did win. Expected them to win, but not as much as they did. They've got a 4-1 win against Wolves, but the opinion on them doesn't really matter or change, as, I mean, it's Wolves, so who cares? But also, a negative from the game, they managed to concede to Wolves, who haven't scored in 6 games, and they haven't kept a clean sheet since the beginning of October, so they do concede a lot. So Bournemouth, who they are facing, can't score them, who have been struggling to score. They failed to score in 3 of their last 5 games, and they have only won twice in their last 11 games. And this game against Chelsea they had was another awful game. Their form has dropped off a cliff. And when these two teams face at Old Trafford, United has won 3 and Bournemouth has won twice in their most recent 5 games. United at home is one of the better teams, well, they're mid-table. They've won 4 of their 7 home games, while Bournemouth away from home have only won once. So I do think United's going to win here, but Bournemouth do score in this one, I feel like, because United do concede pretty often. I'm going to go with a tight 2-1 win to United. So those are my predictions for Game Week 16. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and peace.